It is your Classic Metal Show right here on the ClassicMetalShow.com. That's Megadeth with Poison Was the Cure. And I don't even know if that's Nick's phrase there, Chris, because the guy had to have a cure. He suffered a little, and now he's on the Classic Metal Show suffering more. We would like to welcome Nick Menza on the Classic Metal Show. Welcome there, Nick.
How you doing?
Good. I was very excited when Chris told me that he had lined you up for the Classic Metal Show as an appearance here. And, I'm a big Megadeth fan. Chris, big Megadeth fan. And, when things kind of went south with you with Megadeth, I was very sad about that personally.
Yeah, I wasn't so happy about it myself.
Oh, I can only imagine.
I mean, you know what? Something I really realized this last probably year was everything happens for a reason, and what happened the way it was going to happen, and it took me all this time to really kind of come out of that and see the obstacles that I set up for myself in my life. And dude, it's inevitable what's going to happen anyways, and the fact that I've got the strength and the ability to come back out and do something, why not? I'm going to share it with anybody that cares to check it out.
Well, sure. Well, Nick, you do have a brand new book coming out called Nick Menza Megalife. Talk a little bit about that. What was it that sparked you to actually agree to do a book? And what you're for people that don't know, I'm sure most people only know you from Megadeth, but there's a lot of stuff behind you as far as everything from your interest in conspiracies and UFOs, and you're a big art guy. And, so talk a little bit about what people can expect to find in the book, as well as, what you've been doing that led you to decide to write a book at this point.
Well, somebody actually approached me about it, and it's something I really would have never thought of doing, because it's kind of pretentious to write a book about yourself when you're still alive.
Right.
But, they said, yeah, man, you got an interesting story. J. Marshall Craig is the guy that wrote it. And, we talked a lot. He came to my house and stayed here, and I just babbled to him like a lot of stuff throughout my life. A lot of art stuff I have, paintings and stuff that I've done. And I raised 2 kids. I got 2 boys that are 7 and 13 years old. And, just a lot of things. There's so much stuff in between there. You got to read the book. It's kind of funny. It's sarcastic. It's got a lot of Megadeth stuff in it. And, yeah.
Sure. Well,
there's so
Nick,
much I can talk about it.
Right. Well, when you write a book like this, Nick, and especially, I'm actually working right now on a book. I write myself, and I'm working on a book with a musician as well, not in as big of a band as you. My friend Billy Morris, who was in Warrant for a little while, he was like the replacement player in Warrant. And when you write a book like this, it's always difficult to find that line between what you're willing to say and what is going to cause you a problem. How did you address that, when you started, telling your stories and putting the book together?
It's pretty much like the book's about me and my life and my ongoings and how everything affected me pretty much. So it's really my point of view from what took place, and, a lot of it is there's a lot of sarcasm to it. There's a lot of funny things that you'll just read and go, are you kidding me? Really?
Right.
It was a long, fun, exciting, fearful anxiety trip.
Sure. Definitely.
It was so much crazy stuff, and just like playing huge shows, like playing Rock in Rio was definitely the high point of my career. Like playing in front of that many people at one time was just awesome. The energy that goes down, like I call it anxiety, I call it fear and excitement at the same time, because you're just like the angst of getting out there and like actually playing, getting up there and getting it going on is like the seconds before that is the biggest like rush that you'll ever have.
Well, sure. Now,
I miss that part of it. I miss playing the gigs and stuff like that. So I guess that's another reason I'm coming out of retirement.
Sure. Now talk about that a little bit as well, Nick, because, let's face it, you were in one of the very biggest bands in the world at their peak. Certainly
Dude,
Megadeth.
I still listen to Megadeth. Do you guys still listen to them?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Super Collider is badass.
It really is, and Endgame was badass too.
Yeah, Endgame was cool too, but I really like Super Collider. Like I put that on and I jam to that on the drums.
Well, we're actually going to have David Elfson on the show next week.
Awesome.
It's all about Megadeth right now on this show.
Dude, you know what? I still listen to Megadeth, contrary to what people think, and because I'm like out of the picture and not really doing anything right now. I was a fan of Megadeth before I got in Megadeth.
Sure.
So there's a lot of energy behind all that, and I'm going to go do this little tour in South America that's going to be a lot of fun. There's a lot of other players that are going to be on it, like guys from other bands, and it'll be cool to get up there and jam, all these different songs. It'll be like a total top 40 metal tour. Phil from Pantera, Max Cavalera. There's all these different singers that are going to be on it. Joey Belladonna from Anthrax.
Is that the Metal Masters thing?
Yeah, it's going to be cool as shit, man. I'm like going to try and orchestrate it to where everybody plays at once and have this full orchestra thing going on. That could just be sick, and do like songs from each guy's band and have this whole like sound happening. The drummer from Ministry is going to be playing on it. I don't know the guy's name, but he's a badass drummer.
Right. That's cool, man. Well,
it
Nick,
could be really sick. It could be like it could blow away any concerts that are out there right now for the sheer volume of players that are going to be on it.
Sure. Now, are you doing this tour to get to more or less get your toe back in the water, or are you actively, do you actively have a band that you've put together at this point that you're, going to try and build back up?
That brings me to my next story. No, I have the Atomic Disintegrator, which is going on right now, which is my band, and it's just me playing everything on it right now. So what I need to do is get some players in the band, which I'm currently looking around for. And the South American thing will be good for me to get out and just let people see that I'm back out there doing shit. And the next time I come through there, I can bust out my band and go from there,
Well, Nick, I got to ask you, as a guy who was in, a mega huge band, not to use a cliche, but when you left the band, you were involved with some smaller projects, and you did a few things here and there, but that doesn't sustain you, as an income is concerned. What do you do outside of that to make a living?
I do all kinds of stuff. I do like make cajones. You ever heard of cajones?
I have a pair of big ones, but no, I have never heard of them.
Those are cajonas.
Oh, okay.
These are called cajones. They're like boxes that you sit on. They're like a percussion box.
Okay.
They're made of wood. Very South American, Peruvian, Spaniard. It's like a little box. And I made several hundred of those that I've sold. And I do a lot of custom work on drums. I'm actually coming out with a cymbal line. It's going to be my signature line through Soul Tone Cymbals.
Okay.
And they're going to be cymbals that have like designs on the tops of them, like sun patterns and weird, like, graphic artwork on top of the cymbals that are like etched in there. Flames.
Sure.
And that makes a good living for you?
It's going to make a living for me.
Okay, well, good. I mean, I'm just curious because everybody these days, Chris is self-employed. Everybody's got to find a sideline outside of their mainstream thing, and it always makes me curious what a guy does, because here's the thing in doing 18 years of the Classic Metal Show. Because of the show and the longevity, people assume that because of your notoriety that you're also rich, and that's not the case at all.
Dude,
That fame does not equal wealth.
Let me tell you right now, I'm poor, and I'm like, I get down to it at points to where I just almost run out of money, and then another job comes up of something, where I'm doing some studio work or engineering for somebody or producing a song or whatever I can do. You know, I tell people anything that you can do in the music business today and you're getting paid for it, take that job.
Yeah, I agree.
No matter what if you want to play music and say that you're a musician, then you take any work that you can get. So I'm doing anything from hip-hop to funk to jazz to, I mean, you name it. I do all kinds of weird music. Rap. And, you know, I don't like a lot of it, but I like that I'm working with music and doing musical stuff. I gave some lessons out in Washington. I was out in Washington in Gig Harbor, staying out there for a while with my kids. And I taught a few days lessons, had a bunch of students. It was fun.
Sure.
They all wanted to learn Megadeth songs. So,
well, Nick, I'm curious, and only again, I know we keep going back to you were in this big band, but it is, from an outsider looking in, it's hard to believe that there was no band between when you left Megadeth and now that wanted you to come in and be their drummer. You know, it just seems like a lot of lesser drummers with a lot less experience and success have found their ways into other bands. Were you offered other band things, or were you maybe just not into it at that time?
No, I just really wasn't into it, to be honest with you. Like, it started to become not fun towards the end.
Okay.
And a lot of things, you know, dude, like I said at the beginning of the interview, everything happens for a reason. And I don't know why some things happen. I always used to ask myself, why? And then I'm like, why me? And I'm like, well, why not? You know? And that's the way things come out, you know? And it's like now I've been turning my head to the Megadeth thing because people keep writing me and sending me messages and, dude, you got to get back in Megadeth and blah, blah, blah. And for a long time, I just like, I don't want to be the guy for Megadeth. I don't want to be Nick Menza, the drummer of Megadeth. I just turned my head away from that for a long time. Like, dude, I don't want to hear about that anymore. That chapter is closed in my life.
Sure.
And then recently, somebody was saying to me, dude, you got to be into self-promoting yourself. Why aren't you out there doing something? And I sat up in bed one night and I go, you know what? I'm going to start a band. And I'm like, I'm not going to start a band. What, are you kidding? And just all this stuff, you know, just kind of turmoil shit in my head going on. And I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to start a band, it's going to be a really kick-ass band. It's not going to be some cheesy, like, let's go out and put a project together and do some music. It's going to be some high-energy, pumping rock. You guys want to know what I'm listening to right now? I'm listening to, like, Meshuggah, Gojira,
okay,
Opeth.
Sure. All the new school heavy.
Like, you know,
you're not the guy on Blabbermouth that writes Meshuggah, are you? You're not that guy?
But that guy's cool. Meshuggah, you know what, to me, Meshuggah is the band that has the most lowest oscillation frequencies of any band I've ever seen in concert. Those guys are the kings of low-end oscillation frequencies going on at a show that will just fucking knock you over. Sure. Have you seen those guys live?
I have, and you're right. The low end on that band is amazing, and I have to imagine for you as a drummer, the way that they manipulate those odd timings probably also is fucking
band.
impressive.
They're really a mechanical, very progressive, technical band. People don't realize how technical they are.
Oh yeah.
They're like the scientists of metal.
Yeah, I mean, you could be listening to them and they'll break out an 11/4 timing or some crazy timing in the middle of a standard song. It's amazing.
It's not even so much the timing; it's the vacuum that they create. That's what I call it. When you're at a show like that, and that low end frequency happens, and it kind of sucks all the air out of the room for a second, and then lets it back in.
Sure. It's definitely good stuff. And are you saying that your new band is in that vein, or not really, or what?
Oh, for sure. You know, I cracked up when I saw them come out with this djent style of music when they said, oh, yeah, this is djent. And it's like, djent? What do you mean by djent? You know, when you hit the guitar and you mute it and it goes jint, 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 jint. So they started phrasing this music, all this muting kind of, you know, pattern-style guitar playing. I'm definitely into the rhythmic, stuff that's driving. As soon as it starts going, I'll kick you guys a couple of tracks down. I'm going to have some stuff done within the next probably month that'll have vocals on it. And I'm trying to do this, like I said, this atomic disintegrator. It's going to be heavy. It's not going to be some like wimpy commercial, metal.
Right.
It's going to be some serious, like pumping music that you're going to have to stand up and start either moving your leg to or slamming your head up and down and go, yes.
Very cool, man. Now, is that are you planning on having that out to coincide with the book or what?
No, I'm just putting the book out right now, and I'm going to do this South American thing. Go have a little fun over there. I'm playing some tunes. Sure. And then try and come bust out something, at the new year. I'm trying to put my book out for Christmas.
Okay.
The Mega Elves are working on it right now, trying to finish it.
Nice.
For the Christmas rush.
Nice.
Dude, you know what? That's so cool you guys had me on your show, because I know about your show for a long time.
Oh, yeah? What do you know about it?
I know that you guys are very professional, and you got some cool stuff on your shows, and you got Ellison coming on there next week, so definitely tell him that I said, dude, I'm going to see you on the 15th.
Nice.
Is he coming on before the 15th?
What's that?
Is Ellison going to be on your show before the 15th?
Next Saturday, the 14th.
Oh, okay, because I'm going to see him on the 15th.
That's cool, man. And you guys are doing some kind of like an autograph thing, right?
Right, down by the airport there, autograph show or whatever.
Right. That'll be cool, man.
Oh, yeah, it'll be way cool.
Definitely, man. Now, dude, you mentioned it, and you said for the longest time you didn't want to, be the drummer from Megadeth, in people's hearts. But I know that the fans have never, to be honest, they've really never forgiven Dave for letting go of you and Marty, man. Where do you think now? It doesn't sound like you even have any notion of wanting to go back to that, but I mean, what do you think when the fans say that to you now? I mean, do you appreciate that era that you were in with the band, or
Dude,
are you glad it's over, or what?
Do. I'm blown away by it. It blows me away that people are still coming up to me. I went to a NAMM show this last show, and people are coming up to me going, dude, you're the guy. I'm like, what are you talking about? That was like 20 years ago. They're like, no, man, you're the guy.
Right.
They still want to know about Megadeth shit. They want to know about Rust in Peace. Dude, how do you play this? How do you play this beat? And I'm like laughing. I'm going, really? So I got offered to do these clinics, was the first thing that started it. They said, dude, you want to go do some drum clinics? And I'm like, sure, I'll go talk to a bunch of drummers. That's totally cool. I'm not down with that. Sure. And they go, yeah, but you got to play a couple Megadeth songs. And I'm like, oh, okay. Here's the catch again. And it's coming back to fucking haunt me 20 years later. So I'm playing like Holy Wars and Wake Up Dead and Darkest Hour and all these songs, and I'm just going, man, I'll tell you what. The first time I played them, I was way out of shape.
Right.
I'm going to be almost 50. I'm not going to say I'm not going to play metal anymore, but it takes some work to get up to that point to where I was 20 years ago when I was like in my 20s.
Right. Well, sure. Well,
it was a little reality check there for me.
Right. Well, what do you have to be in better shape for, Nick, to play guitar or to play drums or to take this phone call?
To play drums.
By Definitely. A little bit?
Yeah, well, phone calls, I've been taking a lot of phone calls lately. So I kind of get off on that rap of like, hey, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm going to do, this is what I've been doing.
All good.
But, playing drums, it's like if you want to be that guy and you want to be up there playing that stuff, you got to be conditioned to do it. You can't just jump up there and be like, hey, yeah, let's play Megadeth.
Right.
Let's go through the changes.
Well, Nick, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you can't fake that shit.
Sure. Well, I'm going to veer off a little bit here, Nick, and I just want your opinion. I'm not looking for any kind of bashing here at all. But my curiosity is musicians in your contemporaries and guys that you've actually played with, be it Dave Ellefson, Dave Mustaine, people from the 80s that made hard rock metal, mainstream for a while. Some of them are having these religious conversions, be it Blackie Lawless or even Dave Mustaine or your friend David Ellefson, going to seminary and whatever. And they're known as some of the most decadent people in the music world ever. What is your thoughts on that? I mean, what's your thoughts that here we are 20, 25 years later, these guys were just like the pinup boys of debauchery, if you will, and now they're these converted, born-again Christian people that have eliminated certain songs out of their repertoire, and they're preaching a whole different, or supposedly living a whole different lifestyle now. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts on that could go into all kinds of crazy, ridiculous, things about people in the world, and we're in the end times right now, If you really want to know why a lot of people have fear and they're instilling fear into their belief systems and turning to God, because really, what else is there left to turn to when it all comes down to it?
Sure.
That's a question for you guys. Where do you turn when you're at your lowest point and you're just like have nowhere else to go? Who do you talk to? You talk to the higher power, whoever it is, your God or the universe or wherever you're going to talk to, and obviously those guys have some guilt and shame about what they did, which I guess is cool,
Sure. I mean, at the same time, though, Nick, and I mean, I know you are very similar to me, and that you very much follow the whole conspiracies and Illuminati and all that stuff. Do you not think that some of that, though, is just straight up, mind manipulation by the Illuminati to convince people to kind of weaken themselves by believing in something that may not be there?
Yeah, I think that's part of it too, and I think it's eliminating a lot of the people that are prone to that anyways. So you've got so many different belief systems on the planet of people of different religions and cultures, and I mean, anybody that believes in the Illuminati and think that shit's real is a small percentage of all the other religions that there are on the planet. I mean, the real ones are the ones that are fighting right now in Egypt, and they've been fighting for the past 2,000 years or whatever it is.
Sure. So Nick, I'm curious, just recent topics, recent news, where do you stand with Syria? Do you believe that there's truly this big problem, or do you think that this is just a creation of the powers that be?
Those people are stubborn, and they just can't get with the real issues at hand here. Like, we're all vibrating at the same frequency. Why can't people just, get over this religion thing and this whole, concept of their God and my God and your God, and God's out there. He's bummed at us that we couldn't cohabitate on the planet together.
Right.
All the creatures, and I'm just not talking about people. I'm talking about all the animals and the fish and everything.
Sure.
We fucked up.
It is, man, and especially what the worst part about it, in my eyes personally, is the stupidity. You've got all these people that are allegedly smart, and I mean, let's face it, you can't be stupid to be a world leader or to be a power monger like all these guys are. They're definitely smart, but as smart as they are, they don't realize that the smartest thing that they can ever do is work to get everybody to get along.
Yeah, they don't really want that. They want us to all mess up and screw up so that they can eliminate half the population.
Well,
you didn't hear that from me on the air.
Well, I've only got 5 words for you, Nick. Peace sells, but who's buying?
I am. I still buy records. I still buy CDs.
Sure.
Because music really is the only thing that keeps me going. When I get really bummed out or I've got an issue with something or someone or, someplace, crank up the tunes, and it's all good.
It's definitely an escape.
It's vibration, dude.
Yep.
It's about the vibrations, and if everybody was vibrating at the right frequency, there wouldn't be any problems in the world.
Life is a Beach Boys song, Nick.
And what about Japan?
What, Fukushima?
Yeah, I mean, really. Does anybody have a clue about that, or does anybody even realize the issue that's going on there?
Well, it's a disaster, and nobody's paying attention to it because they don't want to see it. You know, they covered it for a couple weeks and let it go away.
The Japanese, dude, Japan is over.
You think it's
over?
over?
I hate to say that, but it's like they're done there.
Why do you think that?
Because of the radioactive leak that's going on there.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, there is that.
I mean, there's like 2 reactors that are melting down as we speak, that have been melting down, and they have another 2 reactors that they're trying to contain.
Right. Yeah, and yet the mainstream media doesn't want to cover that because they can talk about Miley Cyrus, you know, putting her pussy up in the air.
Dude, it just bothers me that like it's coming into the ocean. It's going to be here on the West Coast in months. In a few months.
Dude, they've already found all kinds of that stuff hitting the coast already. You know, in the fish and in some of the residue from the homes and stuff.
I'm really worried for my kids.
Well, you should be, Nick. You know, I got to be honest with you. I chose not to, procreate because I knew things were just going to get bad.
It's really a bummer, you know. It's like all these things going on the planet. It's like, yeah, I want to play some metal. I totally do. I want to get out and like play some music. Well, I still can, and while it's still going on, before they take that away from everyone and go, no more heavy metal concerts. People go too crazy there.
I agree, Nick. Well, Nick, what do you want to tell the fans on the Classic Metal Show that we haven't touched on here? I know we've been all over the place, but, you know, I'm thrilled to have you on the show because I'm a personal fan of yours, and it's very cool that you take the time to talk to us. So what do you want to tell the fans?
I want to say that it's awesome of you guys to have me on the show. I'm totally stoked on you that you want to talk to me. And to all the fans that have been out there supporting me all this time, you rock. And I'll be out jamming somewhere near you shortly.
Excellent. All right, Nick, where can people find you? You got a Facebook or a website or anything like that?
Yeah, everybody's on Facebook.
I'm not on Facebook. I got to be honest about that. I'm not on Facebook.
All right, I like you.
Don't like it.
I hate Facebook.
I do too.
It's like, you know what? I'm going away on vacation. Come steal everything at my house while I'm gone.
Nice.
I'm leaving on this day, and I'll be back on this day. Anyways. Thanks so much, you guys, for having me on the show.
Sure, Nick. All right, Nick. Well, before we let you go, I want to ask you the traditional Classic Metal Show question. We've been asking this for almost 10 years now. We probably got over 500 answers to this.
I've been waiting.
How has Lemmy from Motorhead influenced your career?
I guess the Ace of Spades. The Ace of Spades. That's about all I can say about Lemmy.
Okay, excellent. That's plenty, believe me.
Lemmy's awesome, you know. He's definitely a rock icon.
Yes, he is. All right, Nick. Well, we always let the artist pick a closing song. So what should we play to take us out of this interview?
How about Ghost Reverie's Opeth album?
All right.
We can
Beneath the Mire.
We can do that.
Can definitely do that.
That'll light you right up for the evening.
Sure.
You got to listen to that song really loud. Like for my warm up before every day when I get up, I played a Ghost Reverie's album by Opeth. And that is a serious drumming workout. Listen to that whole album from beginning to end. If you're a drummer and play along to that, you're badass if you can play that shit.
Very good.
Nice. Good for you. Well, Nick, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us here on the Classic Metal Show. Glad to, talk to you, man. I am a personal fan of yours, and it's been cool.
You.
So you're welcome back on the show anytime you like.
Awesome. Where are you guys? You're on the East Coast?
Yeah, we're in the East Coast. I'm in the Chicago area. Chris is in the Cleveland, Ohio area.
Yep, Are you guys together right now, or you're just via phone?
Nope, we do it. Our studios are linked.
Awesome. Modern technology.
Modern technology.
Awesome.
All right, Nick. Well, we're going to let you go, but we appreciate you taking the time. So here we go. Here's some Opeth exclusively here
on your Classic Metal Show.